Making headlines, President says literature and oratory are essential to national advancement, contending that a society's progress depends on the cultivation of heritage and moral character. Home Minister reveals construction on the Hope Island project designed to rehabilitate children exposed to criminal environments will commence in January 2026. Housing Development Corporation HDC waives all late payment penalties for rent on Hia flats developed in the second phase of Fulmale.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Hafiz Abdul Sattar. Now the news in detail. President Dr. Muhammad Muiz declares literature and oratory essential to national advancement, contending that the society's progress depends on the cultivation of heritage and moral character.
At a recent literary awards ceremony, President Muiz argued that reverence for national traditions provides the intellectual depth and stability required for sustainable development. He noted that his government has established a Ministry of Divehi Language, Culture and Heritage, together with a National Center for Cultural Research, institutions intended to drive an intellectual and ethical transformation. Addressing the practical challenges of cultural preservation, the President pledged support for authors facing prohibitive printing costs, a measure aimed at ensuring the continuity of Divehi literature across generations. He also highlighted the shortage of educational digital content for children and announced a national short film competition designed to produce engaging historical and cultural material to fill that gap. President Muiz concluded by elevating handwriting competitions to national prominence and urged citizens to exercise their literary talents responsibly. He called on the public to prioritize factual accuracy and safeguard national interests, framing literature not only as an artistic pursuit but also as a moral and civic responsibility.
First Lady Sajida Muhammad attends the 2025 graduation ceremony of Excel International School held at the Central Auditorium of the Maldives National University, MNU. During the ceremony, the First Lady presented trophies to 78 senior SKG graduates from Excel International School, including students from SKG-E, SKG-F and SKG-I, as well as 14 students from SKG-A. She also honored 28 students who had memorized various portions of the Holy Quran, recognizing those who had completed 1, 2, 3 and 4 juz. In addition, the First Lady presented a special commemorative plaque to Aisha Eilish Ahmad Saeed, who secured first place in the 37th National Quran Recitation Competition. The ceremony was attended by the school's senior management, teachers, students and parents. Minister of Homeland Security and Technology Ali Hassan reveals a construction of the Hope Island project designed to rehabilitate children exposed to criminal environments will commence in January 2026.
Minister of Homeland Security and Technology Ali Hassan reveals construction on the Hope Island project, designed to rehabilitate children exposed to criminal environments, will commence in January 2026. This significant facility, now slated for development on land reclamation from Uturu Tilafalu UTF after relocating from the initial Wani Dalu atoll site, represents a major step in the government's youth crime prevention strategy. Minister Ihsan outlined that the project will utilize a cross-subsidy model for financing, with the Ministry of Tourism and Environment actively engaged in related discussions with the interested party. Hope Island is mandated to function as a long-term care facility within the children's justice system. The facility, with a planned capacity for 700 individuals, including children and staff, will be comprehensively equipped. Development plans include dedicated special units, education and training areas, sport facilities, a health center, a 700 capacity mosque, ceremonial spaces, and designated meeting areas for children and their families. A total of 15 hectares will be reclaimed in UTF for the purpose. Hope Island's core mission is providing necessary treatment, correctional programs, and rehabilitation for children identified as being at significant risk of committing crimes. The rehabilitation approach will encompass basic education, religious upbringing, physio-social interventions, therapy programs, and contact sports. The government has previously stated that children admitted to Hope Island will typically remain until they reach 18 years of age. Following their rehabilitation, a condition of their release will involve serving a designated period within either the Maldives Police Service or the Maldivian National Defence Force (MNDF). This initiative aligns with broader government efforts to prevent juvenile delinquency. Authorities report that over 160 children are currently receiving care through various state-run programs, underscoring the perceived need for dedicated large-scale facility like Hope Island.
In a significant move aimed at easing the financial burden on low-income households, the Housing Development Corporation (HDC) waives all late payment penalties for rent on HIA flats developed in the second phase of Hulumale.
In a significant move aimed at easing the financial burden on low-income households, the Housing Development Corporation (HDC) waives all late payment penalties for rent on HIA flats developed in the second phase of Hulumale. The waiver, covering penalties accrued from 2023, totals around USD 123,216. Announcing the relief, HDC Managing Director Ali Zuhair confirmed to PSM News that the decision aligns with the government's broader policy of supporting residents struggling to meet rental obligations. This comes on the heels of a recent meeting between President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu and residents of Hulumale Phase 2, during which the President pledged further financial relief, including waiving 12,970 worth of finishing work costs for HIA flat beneficiaries. Currently, out of 8,000 social housing units built in the HIA social housing project, only about 3,000 residents paid rent regularly, leaving over USD 45.4 million in unpaid dues, according to HDC. To address the growing areas and improve compliance, the government has also revised rental and security deposit structures for the 4,000 flats developed by Fahid Dirulung Corporation (FDC). Effective last week, tenants of 3-bedroom flats will now pay a reduced monthly rent of USD 551 plus USD 97.3 for maintenance, totaling USD 648.51, while the security deposit has been slashed from USD 1,621.27 to USD 551.2 for 2-bedroom units. Monthly rent is set at USD 389.1 with a USD 64.9 maintenance fee, and security deposit has been cut from USD 972.8 to USD 389.1.
Maldives Airports Company Limited (MACL) confirms that 40 hectares of land have now been successfully dredged, marking a significant progress in the Hulumale Phase 3 land reclamation project. MACL said the completed work represents approximately 63.5% of the total planned reclamation area of 63 hectares. The company also confirmed that the newly reclaimed land has now physically connected Hulumale to the nearby island of Farukolu Fushi. Previously operated as a resort, Farukolu Fushi has more recently been used as a venue for weddings and other events. The physical connection is connected to facilitate integrated development in the area. The government contracted a project awarded to Sri Lanka's Capital Marine and Civil Construction (CMC) resumed on 10th November after several pauses following its initial commencement in October 2023. MACL reported that dredging work is currently progressing at an accelerated pace, with 9 hectares reclaimed within the past 7 days alone. 2 dredging vessels are engaged in the operation, Prince de Netherlanden and Orient. MACL, which is supervising the project, stated that dredging of the full 63-hectare reclamation area is expected to be completed within the next 45 days. The Maldives Transport and Contracting Company (MTCC), which is undertaking development of a critical 250-meter stretch from the local market area to the North Harbour, announces the next phase of work as road construction continues.
The Maldives Transport and Contracting Company (MTCC), which is undertaking development of a critical 250-meter stretch from the local market area to the North Harbour, has announced the next phase of works as road construction continues. The project, which began on October 9th, is presently focused on road development alongside essential utility network upgrades. MTCC's senior project manager, Sharwas Abdullah Faiz, told PSM News that 70% of the work has already been completed, with network upgrade works by the Malay Water and Sewerage Company (MWSC) scheduled to begin shortly. As part of the development, the road is widened to 6 meters. FA is confirmed that sheet pile installation, which is a key component for shoreline protection and land reclamation, is expected to commence by the end of this month, with dredging work carried out simultaneously. To facilitate construction, MTCC is closing a section of the road after midnight, while warning that further closures may be implemented as work progresses. The project is being carried out under the wider Bortakurufan-Magu development plan. Phase 1, covering a 140-meter section, has already been completed and open to the public. Once finished, the project will revitalize a 1,088-meter corridor extending from the Hemweru ferry terminal to the North Harbour. Road closures and temporary traffic flow changes are expected during the construction period. MTCC states that the current phase of the project is scheduled to be completed before Ramadan, after which the upgraded infrastructure will be open to the public.
Maldives Airports Company Limited MSCL states Valana International Airport's Terminal 1 is now serving 36 airlines, with Air France becoming the latest carrier to commence operations from the terminal. A special ceremony was held at the airport to mark Air France's transition to Terminal 1. During the event, the airline's check-in counters were officially opened with gifts presented to 51 departing passengers. Meanwhile, 332 arriving passengers on the first Air France flight to operate from the terminal were welcomed with traditional cultural performances. Air France is the first French airline to operate from Terminal 1 and has been serving the Maldives since 2nd November 2017. MSCL stated that the goal is to transition all airline operations to Terminal 1 by the end of this year. Emirates and Qatar Airways are also expected to begin operating from the new terminal by the end of this week. The Ministry of Tourism and Environment launches a survey to develop and strengthen island tourism. The survey aims to collect key information to improve policy formulation and service quality to promote sustainable island tourism. Data will be collected until 27th December from 3 groups: guest house operators, island residents, and tourists visiting the islands. Information from these groups will provide diverse experiences and insights into island tourism, helping to shape the future of the sector. The survey has already been conducted in Holomale, in Male City, and Mafushi and Diffushi in Kafetol. The Bank of Japan raises interest rates to levels unseen in 3 decades and signaled its readiness for further hikes, taking another landmark step in ending decades of huge monetary support and near-zero borrowing costs.
The Bank of Japan raised interest rates on Friday, December 19, to levels unseen in 3 decades and signaled its readiness for further hikes, taking another landmark step in ending decades of huge monetary support and near-zero borrowing costs. It also removed language that growth and inflation will stagnate due to the impact of higher U.S. tariffs, underscoring the central bank's conviction that Japan was on course to stably hit its 2% inflation target, backed by wage gains and ready for a continued normalization of monetary policy. In a widely expected move, the BOJ raised short-term interest rates to 0.75% from 0.5% in the first increase since January. The move takes interest rates to levels unseen since 1995, when Japan was reeling from the burst of an asset-inflated bubble that drew the BOJ into a prolonged battle with deflation. But Governor Kazuo Ueda remained vague on the exact timing and pace of future interest rate hikes. The pace of adjusting the degree of monetary easing will depend on future economic, price, and financial conditions, he said in a press conference. At each monetary policy meeting, we will make appropriate judgments while updating our outlook for the economy and prices, associated risks, and the likelihood of the outlook materializing. The yens led the Nikkei stock average rose, and the benchmark 10-year government bond yield jumped to a 26-year peak after the policy announcement.
Ukrainian authorities say Russian forces have hit a bridge on the Dniester River near the Ukrainian village of Mayaki, southwest of Piptanye, at least 5 times since December 16th.
President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russia is trying to sever Ukraine's access to the Black Sea following days of ramped-up airstrikes on ports and energy facilities in the Odessa region and a critical route to the Moldova border. The Dniester River Bridge, which connects parts of the region divided by the river and sea inlets, is the main transport route westward to border crossings with Moldova and is not operational now. Officials said the route accounts for around 40% of fuel supplies to Ukraine. Handout footage from Ukraine's government showed officials inspecting the bridge as workers with front-loading tractors cleared debris from the road. Officials later briefed staff at the city hall of nearby Azis. Reuters was able to verify the locations by matching the bridge shape and road's layout with satellite imagery of the bridge. The exterior and interior designs of the buildings, including the Azis City Hall, matched file imagery. Reuters was not able to verify when the video was filmed, but the damage to the bridge was confirmed by government officials and corroborating reports.
Veteran Brazilian defender Thiago Silva joins Porto on signing a short-term deal until the end of the season.
Veteran Brazilian defender Thiago Silva joined Porto on signing a short-term deal until the end of the season. The 41-year-old centre-back was available as a free agent after Fluminense agreed to terminate his contract prematurely. Silva returned to his boyhood club in 2024 after almost 2 decades in Europe with AC Milan, Paris Saint-Germain and Chelsea. The Champions League winner joins a Porto side sitting 5 points clear at the top of the Portuguese Primeira Liga and is aiming to impress in a bid to make Carlo Ancelotti's Brazil squad for this summer's World Cup. Silva has made 113 appearances for his country but has not featured for the Seleção since their 2022 World Cup quarter-final exit.
And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant time ahead.